Okay, it's recording. Everybody ready?
Yep.
We're here today live for the Algoma Thunderbird Basktball Show with Cole Evans of Algoma Thunderbirds, myself, Kevin Hemsworth, and Etienne Jacquet. How's everybody today?
Doing well. Thanks, Jay.
Things are going well.
Cole, are you going nuts with self-isolation right now?
Honestly, I don't find it that bad. You know, I'm pretty good at just being by myself, staying home. So I don't mind it. You know, it's time to just get a little bit of rest after a hectic year. You know, do my own thing, put my own work in. So able to focus on myself a bit. You know.
Coach, how's P90X?
P90X is going well. I mean, it's still killing me, but it has its rewards. It's good for me.
And Kevin, it was my fault that we had technical difficulties, but we thought Coach thought you were looking for the buffet. You weren't coming on because there was no buffet.
Yeah, I was outside. I was eating breakfast. Thanks for that buffet delivery. Appreciate it. No buffet again today, Coach. I don't know what's going on.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's on its way. It's on its way. It's getting prepared.
Coach, any new updates on the recruiting scene? Like any announcements or anything right now?
Right now, no, but really close, I believe, to signing probably our last guy. Just waiting on the letter of intent. So I'm thinking it's gonna come this week, and we should have a full roster this upcoming week.
And Kevin, like I said, at this point, usually I turn over to you, and we'll let you grill Cole for a little bit. Then we'll get back into a few other things.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jay. So, Cole, good to see you. I can see you're holding up okay.
Yeah. Man.
How are you? How are you handling the studies from home? Have you wrapped that all up? Are you taking any courses this summer?
I just finished up. I just finished my last exam actually probably about a week ago. It wasn't too bad. The profs just move everything online, and I thought it was pretty easy. I didn't really see it any different from being in class. You just got to kind of motivate yourself, right? Because it's like you want to watch. Like you don't have to watch any of the lecture videos. You don't have to do any of the work. You could just show for the exam or whatever. But I think I'm a pretty self-motivated student, so I didn't really have an issue with the online stuff.
Good. Well, glad to hear that. So listen, you're a hometown guy, stuck around in Sault Ste. Marie. So obviously that's a little bit of a different experience than everybody else on the team. I don't think there's anybody else from the Sioux on the team. So what's that like staying home? And I think it looks like you're living at home.
Yeah.
What's that experience like for you?
I mean, I like it. I'm obviously I'm still living at home, so I'm still with my parents and stuff. So, I mean, it's easy in the sense that like I'm not like a starving college student. I still get to come home to my like home cooked meals and stuff, and all that good stuff. But as far as being on the team, like being the hometown kid, I don't know, it's kind of cool, because all these new guys come in, they have no clue, about the city. A lot of them come from big areas. We have a lot of Toronto and Montreal guys, and then they come to Sault Ste. Marie and they're like, what is this? Like, I can usually like walk anywhere I need to go. Everything's so tight and packed. But I don't know. There's a lot of times I got to take guys and show them around and take them to the grocery store and take them here, take them there. And I don't know. I just kind of like the connect, I guess, to the city for the guys.
So you're not only a guard, but you're the tour guide?
Yeah, exactly, Exactly. Anytime somebody needs a favor, they shoot me a text. Yeah.
So listen, you talked about living at home. Do the guys bug you about getting your laundry done, or?
Nah, I think they wish they could get their laundry done, Plus,
He just admitted that his mom still does his laundry.
Yeah, I think she likes doing my laundry, to be honest. It's not like, hey, do your laundry. She's like, hey, you have any clothes need to be washed? I think she likes having me at home. She's like, has to take care of me and stuff.
Coach, you know where to send your laundry, Coach?
Definitely. I know exactly where to send it now.
Cole. Careful, Cole. The guy's going to be dropping bags off to you every practice.
Maybe.
All right. So, Cole, so it was your first year last season.
Mhm.
So obviously transition from the high school game for you. You went to St. Mary's, played locally. What was that transition like?
It was different, you know, like it was super different. At this level it's a different animal. You know, everybody's so much bigger, more athletic, you know, like talented. Like it was really crazy. Like the speed of the game is so different now than it was in high school. Like when I was in high school, you guys have seen Sault basketball. Like everybody's small, everybody the game's slow. It's just whatever, you know, like there was times I'm 5'11" and I would play the 4 and guard the biggest guy on other teams. And then I come to this level and I have teammates that are 6'7", and I'm like, I can't handle that right now. Like, but honestly, I'd say the biggest adjustment was probably the speed of the game. Having to be able to like constantly be moving and having to read the play like instantly, right? Like in high school, there's a lot of times where I could just have the ball in my hands and just wait and watch things set up and stand still. But there's no standing still at this level. It's way faster.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that surprises people who haven't been around the OUA when they step into the gym to watch a game. That's the comment, at least that I hear from people who I see them for the first time there, and I always ask them, what do you think? And it's just like, wow, I didn't realize it was this fast.
Yeah.
And so I can only imagine that being out there in the middle of it, it's even faster than being on the sidelines watching it. So
yeah.
So obviously a little bit of a different role for you than you would have had in high school this year. I checked some of the stats, 6.4 minutes a game. So obviously not as much time on the court as you have been used to prior to now. So how do you adjust to that? And the second part of that is, how do you see your role moving forward into next season?
Yeah. So at first it was different, right? Like you said, high school, I was always the guy that barely came off. I always had the ball in my hands and stuff, right? And then coming here, I figured that, I probably wasn't going to play very much right off the bat. I had some work to do. There was a guy when I was coming to Algoma, he was kind of like an assistant coach. His name was Clayton Kane when I was coming in. And I knew him through high school a lot. Like I played like rep AAU ball for the junior Thunderbirds and stuff. So like my last year of high school, he was texting me a lot, talking about just kind of how to be a good teammate, because I didn't spend a lot of time on the bench in high school. So when I was on the bench, he's like, your body language needs to be good, just because like you're not on the floor doesn't mean you can't be impacting the game, So I started learning then, like, that you can impact the game while not even being on the floor, So when I got to Algoma and, I was probably the worst player on the team at first. So I was like, well, I can't, if I'm not on the court winning games for us, how can I help my teammates, How can I make them the best they can be? So it's like, it's a matter of when you're on the bench, you have to always be positive. You have to be loud. You got to be there for your guys, Same thing with practice, like in practice, it's intense, right? We're competitive. Guys get at it, guys go hard. But, I always got to make sure, like, they know, hey, keep it up. You're doing good. You got this, So at first I kind of came in with the idea of I got to be, like, a great teammate, like I got to be the number one guy, like to help these guys. And then role changed a little bit. I started playing a little bit more. So my role kind of just changed to being a shooter, right? So when I get in the game, make shots, when you're open, shoot it, make shots. So then I had to add that on top of, being a teammate. I wasn't just a good teammate anymore. I had to be able to make shots, because if I can't make shots, I can't be in the game, right? So for me, moving forward, like obviously to increase my role, got to be able to hit those. And then I just got to start adding to my game now, right? So that I can be a bigger part of the team. So I understand that there's times I'm on the floor, like coach will put me out there a 3-minute spurt, right? And he'll go out there, hey, if you're open, let it go. Because if I can make 2 or 3 quick shots, that's like a quick turn for us, right? A quick turning point. But I can't be out there too long if I'm not able to like guard people like for the whole 3 minutes. Like that's probably, I think the biggest thing for me is being able to defend, right? That's like the big thing I'm focusing on is because in high school, like I thought I was playing defense, but to be honest, I was not playing defense. Like I didn't really have to play defense. Like it was like, you're going to shoot it. You're probably going to miss. I don't care. So I got here and I was getting cooked. So I couldn't play. Point blank. Like it was simple. So for me, if I want to move up, you know, I want to be one of the first guys off the bench, and maybe eventually become a starter, you know, like, for me, it starts with defense, right? Because we have great ball handlers. We have point guards that could, you know, create. I'll get open for them. I'll make those shots. At this point, I'm confident I'll make those shots. So me, it's on the other end. I can't, you know, I have to help us there too. I can't be a liability.
Yeah, I think you talked about 2 really important things, and hopefully, you know, some of the kids that are tuning in, whether they're coming to Algoma next year, they're just interested in Algoma basketball.
Yeah.
You know, take note of that. Number one, I think you mentioned that energy, and that's one thing that I noticed this year that you had throughout games, whether you were in them or not. Just that energy on the bench, and then when you got into the games, bringing that energy to the floor. I thought that was a real positive, and you know, kudos to you for being able to accept that role. It's not always easy, right? When you come from playing a lot, but you know, I think that's an important one that kids who step up to the next level, they kind of got to embrace that, right? You don't always step into the starting guy role, and then the other side is defense, which you know you mentioned, and you know I've coached a little bit of high school ball, and you're right. It's, you know, it's sometimes you think you're playing defense, but you're not really playing defense. And I know we've talked about that many times. That's where it starts on the defensive end of the floor.
100%, yeah.
You know, you can't get out in transition if you can't defend. So,
exactly.
So that's great to hear you talk about those 2 things. So, what were some of the highs and lows of your rookie season?
Last year?
Yeah.
I mean, lows. Start with the lows. I didn't play at all. Like I didn't touch the floor once. Played like 2-3 minutes in an exhibition game. So coach go. Anyways, it sucked that I wasn't playing at all. Right. So that was tough.
All right, Cole. Less pressure without coach here.
Yeah. Now you can be honest. Coaches. Oh, here he is again.
Anyways, it was tough to just not play at all. Right. And I kind of forgot what it was like to be in the game. It's a different kind of energy, right? Like you have fun playing basketball in practice. You have fun playing with your friends. You know, like teammates. You go and you play 1-on-1. Like that's fun and good and all, but there's a different feeling like being in the game. Like that's a different feeling. Like that's something special, right? So I went a whole year like I didn't feel that. Like I wasn't on the court. I like never. But coolest thing about my rookie years, it was like I had stepped into a new world. Like Sault basketball is not like this basketball at all, right? And like so I had guys from all over the place, and I was learning, you know, like I'd say just having all these new teammates was probably the coolest thing. Like I learned a lot about basketball. Like I mean I still got way better, obviously. I started I couldn't really like dribble still, but like I used to think I could like actually handle the ball, and then I was like, I can't do this. So then I had to learn. I don't know, just getting better. Like seeing myself getting better was cool. And then, just having all these new teammates, and they're all from different places, right? Like learning about all their new cultures. Like in the Sioux, there's not really a whole bunch of different cultures. Like I have a lot of Italian friends, and so you know, I got a lot of cool Italian culture, but all these guys from Toronto, and they all come from different areas, right? So, and just like learning from them what life back home is like for them was cool for me. Like, so I say just making those new connections was probably the high. Like,
oh, that's great. That's great to hear you talk about that. It's an important part of the varsity sport experience. you know, meeting new people. It's an important part of the university experience, to be honest, is meeting new people and just that diversity and learning from that. I know that was, you know, a big part of my university experience 100 years ago, but so good to hear you talk about that as well. So Cole, I know it's tough, and I got you on the spot because Coach is right there and he can hear you now again. So, but what are you doing to get ready for next year, particularly on lockdown? You know, how are you making that work for you? Because it sounds like you're motivated to bring your game to the next level. So what are you doing right now to get ready for next season, even though it seems like it's a little while away, and especially seems like it's a little while away because you can't get into the gym?
Yeah, for sure. That's tough. But I mean, you just gotta do what you can, right? Like Vince and Steven talked about the same stuff. Like at home, you know, if you don't have a lot of weights, you gotta do your body weight workouts, stuff like that. You know, Steven said he's doing tons of push-ups. You know, doing my push-ups too, but I don't know if I'm doing as many as Steven. That guy does a lot of push-ups. But other things, right? Like ball handling, like it's simple stuff. If you have a ball, you can always get better. As long as you have a basketball, you can get better, right? And I'm pretty lucky, you know, I'm at home, so I have like my outdoor net from when I was a kid. You know, I haven't used it in 3 years because I always had access to the gym, but so I'm lucky I can still go out there and shoot and get my shots up and, you know, all that stuff. And then just run, stay in shape. Like, it's pretty simple in a way, but it's just the time and how much work you put in and how hard you go. Like that's the important part, right? Like you're working, you can't work half speed. You got to go hard, right? So just doing the same things as the other guys, you know, it's pretty simple.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, you're right. The motivation is the hard part. And, you know, it's and finding other ways, you know, when you can't be in the gym. But it's you know, it is kind of nice to get back to basics, right? Just running and putting shots up and push-ups, and, you know, it simplifies things just a little bit, right? Versus, you know, which machine am I going to get at? Am I doing free weights? Am I squat deadlifts and squats? And it's kind of nice to simplify things a little bit. And like we said, every week, everybody's in the same boat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. Jay, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thanks, Cole.
No problem.
And Etienne, from your point of view, what was Cole's role last year going into this season for when you guys eventually hit the court?
Definitely, I'm looking for Cole to be able to make shots at a more consistent clip. If he's
He just doesn't like to talk. Are we wrong, Cole, or he likes to talk?
Depends on the day. Depends on the day. Sometimes you like to keep it short and sweet, but other times.
I think the team's got to chip in and get him internet at home.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I think you know, as Coach was saying, like, and you guys sounds like you're on the same page. So he's obviously talked to you about this, right? About, you know, being consistent with the shooting when you get in there, let them fly when you can. And I know when we talked last week to Steven about coming off the bench, sometimes you get those open looks because guys aren't keying on you as much, right?
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's probably not something you're used to either, right? Because in high school, I'm sure you know, you were defended. So
yeah, exactly. But you know, you kind of get used to it. I've been playing and practice with these guys for like 2 years, so I learned what it's like to kind of take the back seat. So it's all good.
Well, we'll let you answer the question again, Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry guys, not sure what's going on, but like I said, man, his role is going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more. I want him to make shots more consistently, and also, you know, continue to be a great teammate. And definitely on the defensive end, if he can be on the court a little bit longer, it's going to be more beneficial for him and for everyone involved.
And Coach, like Kevin had talked to Cole about being the only Sault Ste. Marie player on the roster. Do you think that puts a little bit of pressure on a player when he's playing in front of his hometown crowd?
Yes, there is a little bit of pressure. I mean, when he gets on the court, he wants to be a little bit better. His family's there, his friends are there, everyone's there. So it puts a little bit more pressure, but also he gets a little bit more energy as well, right? So he has the ability to play a little bit harder because he knows some people are going to be watching him, and he had some great moments on our home court. So it's great. It's great for him to play in front of his fans and his family.
And how does it feel when you're playing at home, Cole, in front of the friends and family? Is there more pressure?
I don't feel it at all. No, I love it. It's like I've been playing on this court since I was a kid. You know, like it's energy. You know, this is my city. I love it. So there's no pressure at all.
And like say, Coach Etienne's bringing a few new recruits with a little bit of more size. Your opinion on that going into this season whenever it starts?
I'm excited. You know, like you saw, we struggled for a while this year because we were small, right? We were like dead last in rebounds. Our rebound margin was like dead last for a long time. So it would be good to get some size in. You know, it's helpful, obviously. Like game of basketball, you know how important it is to have some bigger guys out there, right? So I'm excited, you know.
Now, Coach, have you worn out the game film from last year, being quarantined so much?
Yes, I did. I did watch it a lot, but what I started doing is also kind of burning it too. I mean, I looked at a lot of different things, and then I said, that wasn't really us. I feel like we can be better, and I feel like with this roster, it's gonna be much different. There's not much that I can take from it because I believe all the guys are much better now, and they're better individuals, better students, better players. So I feel like we're heading in the right direction. And with the height, it's gonna change a lot in terms of spacing and defense and especially rebounding.
And Cole, as I always ask if it's not on here, but other interviews I do with local products, can you tell the kids out there who are in high school right now what to do, and like say to help get to the next level, whether it's Algoma or somewhere else, and like say being in Northern Ontario compared to being in Southern Ontario, like your teammates?
Mm-hmm. I mean, number one thing is you have to work, right? If you're not working hard, you're not gonna make it because there's always somebody out there trying to outwork you, right? It's not just us, right? There's people from all over, not even just the province, like the country, in America too. Like you're fighting for a spot with so many other people that have to work hard, firstly, right? And like I said, like being a good teammate, that's important. Like you don't realize coaches look at more than just your game. They look at like who you are, right? Like that's what I said when I was talking to the assistant coach when I was getting recruited. Like that's the first thing he talked to me about was my demeanor, you know, like how I can be a good team, all this stuff. Like coaches don't just look at how talented you are. Obviously, that's the most important part, but you have to be a good teammate. You have to be a good student. Like there's so many different aspects that go on to getting to this level, you know? And it's just work, you know? And you got to get noticed. That's tough too. If nobody's looking, then you're not going to get found, but.
And the other question I always ask the local kids, and I don't know, Coach, if you'll know these names or not, but Cole, who did you love lining up against in your high school career, and who you hated lining up against?
I'm gonna answer that with the same person, probably. We had some good battles. I think it was kind of like a rivalry, but I don't know, like that Cora team. Whenever we played Cora, it was like, oh, it's Cora, you know, we got us in Cora. But I thought it like St. Mary's Cora rivalry. I don't know what they thought. Maybe they thought we were just like just another team on the schedule. But Matt Clement was a guy, you know, like in the Sioux, we're all small and stuff, but he's like 6'5" almost, strong. Times I had to guard him. He was tough. He was good. But I loved it, you know, like crazy battles. Every time they beat us, like I was just tore apart. I hated it. I hated losing to them because they had a team too. They had like all kinds of guys. They had Matt. They had Jordan Robinson Wright, Jaden Grisdale, Donovan Harris really came into his own after a while. Brendan Mitchell, like they had a whole team of guys. Like so they got the better of us most times, but just Matt Clement specifically, you know, like. But Matt's a great guy too. Like you hate seeing him on the court because he's huge, you know. He can't move and stuff. But like off the court, me and Matt get along really well. You know, we're good friends now. You know, he played at Sault College for a bit. I think he had a knee injury or something, but I was really happy for him. You know, he got to go on and play next too. But yeah, Matt was that guy. You know, like that was my favorite.
And Kev, like say Cole, if you don't know, Kevin has a 1-0 record with Cora. So he's going to live and die by that. But as a head coach, he's got a 1-0 record. So
just going to keep talking about it. Just keep talking about my undefeated record.
But
Hopefully Coach Wynn isn't watching because he sat out that game and let me step in for the W. So
now, Kevin, there must be something with Coach being new to the city. There must be something about why teams just don't like the Samari's nights. I've done 3 interviews in 3 weeks, and everybody's picked on those nights. There's something about them, right, Kev?
What?
Yeah, it seems to be something, but no, funny that you talked about Matt. I see him in the gym. I know he's in the gym at Algoma from time to time. Quiet guy, but plays big, right? I mean, he's not that he's small, but plays a lot louder than he is. He's a pretty quiet guy. He doesn't say too much, but yeah. Interesting that you would say that. And some of those guys you mentioned from Core are still there this season. So they had a decent year this year too. So.
Mm-hmm. And Cole, the last question I like to ask is, anybody you'd like to thank?
Anybody I'd like to thank.
Or give a shout out to.
Shout out.
There's a lot of people, you don't really succeed without. There's a whole crew of people that help you succeed, right? Like, my parents, easy one, right? Everybody, like, Coach. You gave me an opportunity this year after not playing at all. You gave me an opportunity. Go out there and play, My old coach, Tom, I was getting ready to retire playing basketball forever. I didn't think I was going to play next level. He gave me a call and said, hey, you want to keep playing? I love basketball. Can't turn that down, My high school coach, Jimmy Petitella and Louis Mazuka. Those 2 guys, I think they kind of molded me in the ways that they taught more than just basketball. Like, they were my basketball coaches, but that was like second priority. Their priority was to make sure we're all good young men. Like, that's what they were trying to do with us, So I think the reason I'm such a good teammate or whatever kind of comes down to them too, like they're a big part of my basketball journey for sure. All kinds of people, there's tons of people. Basically every coach I ever had helped me so much, and like, you don't realize it until like after the fact that every coach you have makes such an impact on your game and your career. Like all of them, they've all helped me get to this. I wouldn't be at this level if it wasn't for all of them,
And that's something you probably hear quite a bit, eh, Coach?
Yes, you kind of hear that quite a bit, and I'm glad, because that's why we do it. That's why we coach. We try to get these guys. These guys started off as basketball players, and then they leave you being young men, or in this case university graduates. So it's great. It's great to have the opportunity to coach these guys and help them become better people.
And Kev, with you being with the program, like say play-by-play the last couple of years, you've seen players go through it. They get basketball with an education, and you've been on both sides of the education at Algoma and different groups. That's a big part of their lives too, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, one of the things that I've noticed, just, being able to talk to the guys a little bit more in these situations, and then, with the in-game interviews, is just the maturity level of these guys. And Cole, testament to you and your parents and all those coaches that you had, because lots of people your age don't appreciate the contributions of those coaches along the way until much later, and don't, there's a lot of talk about good coaches and bad coaches. And I sort of look at it like, whether you think it's a good coach or a bad coach, you're going to learn something from every coach you have. And the more coaches you have, the more different perspectives you have, the more it rounds you out as a player. So great to hear you talk about that and talk about those coaches and what they brought to you. So I think that's really important. And Coach, I'm sure that you have seen that over the years coaching as well, right? The guys who've had different perspectives, different coaches along the way, probably more complete players, more complete people, right?
Yes, definitely. I mean, they have the opportunity to pick up on many different coaches, many different ideas, different perspectives on the game, but also, pick up as well on different personality traits. Everybody's different. So if you can pick up a little something from every single coach you ever had, you end up having experiences from older individuals and individuals that want your best and makes you better. I mean, I still remember my old coaches. And then there's actually some of the drills that we still do that was probably one of the first thing I ever learned about basketball. So having these coaches and having the ability to talk to these coaches is really beneficial for overall growth as an individual.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Coach. My first basketball coach was Stan Butler, and I don't know if you know that name, but Stan Butler I think he's still the head coach of the North Bay Battalion in the OHL. So he's a hockey coach, but he was a teacher and taught at the school that I went to, grade 7-8. That's the first time I stepped on the court. And like you said, I still, when I coach, I still do a lot of the same stuff that that he taught us way back when. And I mean, it's all still valuable. It's basic fundamentals. And so, yeah, you pick up things from every coach you have.
Definitely. It's funny that you say that, because my first basketball coach, my basketball career kind of started differently. I used to play soccer, I used to play hockey and football and play all these different sports. And then at basketball, one time I was looking at this old man. He was playing on the court and he was putting the ball in the basket. And I couldn't understand how this man could do it. And everybody in the neighborhood, we used to call him Old Man Joe. So Old Man Joe used to say, hey, listen, I see that you have potential, but I'm only training you at 6 o'clock in the morning. So at 6:01, if you're not here, I'm not training you. So I used to get there 5:30, get ready and take the shots, get our shots going. We used to call it the before breakfast practice. And we still do that right now at Algoma. We actually have these kind of practices where we come in real early and we get our shots going and do the same thing. And that's the first thing I learned about basketball. You got to be working when it's dark outside so that it shows in the light.
And Cole, now you know who to blame for the early morning practices. It's not Coach.
Man Joe.
That's our man Joe, yeah.
So you hear Cole say, "Old Man Joe," you know why now, Coach.
Definitely.
Well, guys, I can't thank you enough for taking the time out this morning. Again, we tried something, didn't work, and we're not going back to it from now on. But again, next week we're going to have teammate of Cole's, Devin Marin, on the show. And I'd like to thank Cheryl Ann Robinson, Jordan Robinson Wright's grandmother of Expedia Cruise Ship Center, for sponsoring this show. And we'll be back at 11 o'clock next week also. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jay. It was fun.
You.
You still there?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going back. This is working, so I'm just going to keep it this way. Screw the other way.
Cool.
Okay.
So we'll see you about 5 to 11 next week then, Coach.
Yes, definitely. I figured out what's going on. My phone is heating. So I'm gonna have to take off the protection. I forget the name, the cover.
Right.
I know there's a player on here, but he's taking off protection while it gets heated. There's something wrong there, Kev. Paul's not even paying attention.
All right, guys. Well, thanks, Cole.
Okay, thanks. We'll
Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Good
See you
job,
next week.
Cole.
Appreciate it, guys. Yeah.